You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted. You
Hello.
Got me coming back for more.
Welcome
even
to
when
Dear
I've been
Dana.
through. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through.
Day.
I got issues in my head.
Go
Waking
ahead.
in my bed, but you
Inhale
keep me
through
on
your
red.
nose to the count of 4.
Everything is like a test. I better not text
Hold
or
it.
I'll come off desperate.
Exhale to the count of 4. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold it. Exhale to the count of 4. Inhale to the count of 4.
So if I play dead, will you
Hold it.
regret everything that you
Exhale
did?
to the count of 4.
I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's
Welcome.
from the bruising.
Welcome to the bushes. Welcome to the bushes. We have a special guest tonight. Mr. Lightworker, animal rescuer, and an animal whisperer.
Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you.
Shake it out.
When I'm alone with you, I never feel lucid.
All the stress
I
of the
wish I
week.
wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you, I knew this.
Don't let go of the
When I'm with
music.
you, I feel so useless. I feel diluted. My heart's been wounded.
Just let go of the
So
stress.
if you were like a time,
That's what we do when we come in here
what you want.
before we start
With
talking.
you, I don't ever feel calm.
But let me go of the
Let
music.
Play with me like cats
Let
and a
me
string.
let go of the music
You don't
now before
understand
we
the
get
pain of
started.
pain. You don't ever wanna
Let
give
me
me
let
wings.
go of it.
You don't.
Welcome to Dear Dana. Tonight we will be meeting someone very special to me, someone I have known quite a long time. I want to welcome a friend of mine that I have known quite a while. She is a very special, good human. She's someone that has a very multicolored life. She is an animal whisperer. She is someone that rescues animals. She has many responsibilities in her life. She also is a light worker in her own right. Like I said, we met quite a few years ago. I hope you will find that you are as honored to meet her as I am to know her. She just has this way about her. We'll talk about how we met in a little bit, but it's just so funny. There are people that I meet that, hey Shapey, that I never get to meet face to face. Hopefully one day in our lives we will, but I'll end up connected to them for years upon years, and our souls, how do I say this? I feel like we know each other like this, if that makes any sense. It doesn't feel like we haven't known each other or that we're not close. So she's one of those people to me. I hope everybody's had a good week so far. I know she's here. She's in the chat. I had a hell of a day. It's been one of those days. I went to the neuro-ophthalmologist. Wasn't the best news I've ever had, but it's not the end of the world. I will keep on rolling. Thank you, Shay B. Thank you for being here. I will keep on rolling just like I always do. It wasn't anything I did not suspect. So it's just one of those things. But I'm so glad that Susan is here with me. I'm going to drop the link for her. So I'm going to welcome her on up. Every time I try to send a guest a link, for some reason it doesn't work. So this is how I roll right now. Hold on, I've got to cough. I had to make sure it was blinking. And welcome everybody in the bushes. It's okay that you're in the bushes, but please make sure you like and subscribe along the way. I always am terrible about asking people to do that. But welcome, my friend and a wonderful human being, Miss Susan Reinholz. And I'll get to show you some of her special pictures. On the thumbnail, I put one of her near a tiger. She has been around some of the most unusual animals that seem to trust her for good reason. But I don't know what you guys thought of um, the anchor guy that lost his job because of Scientology. Isn't that something? Out in his little part of the country. Uh oh. It says device is not connected. It says your devices are not connected, Susan. There she is. Hello, Miss Susan.
Hi.
I can hear you. I can
Can you
see
hear
you.
me okay?
Yeah, you're a little frozen.
Okay. I don't know why. Okay. I am having back. Uh, okay, because it seems to be echoing.
If you're on a laptop, if you're watching on something and talking on something, one of the things would have to be turned, the volume would have to be turned down.
Could you hear my phone?
Do what now?
Right. I didn't have anything else on. Is this working okay now?
Yeah,
Is it working okay now?
yeah, just a
Can you
slight
hear me
delay.
okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
That's
You
okay.
know what? I'm going to try to be on my phone.
Okay. And if anytime you feel like you need to turn off and come back, that's okay too. Whatever feels right.
All right. I'm going to do that. I will be back.
Okay. It takes a minute for people to adjust to coming on live stream. Thank you for coming, Shay B. Hopefully more people will log on in a minute. While we are waiting for her, I'm going to share some of her animal photos if it will let me. Let me see if I can share some of those. Share screen. Um, there is nothing to see if it'll let me. Okay, there to go. Share. These are some of her dogs. Let me take this off. Hopefully you can see that. Well, those are her babies. These are some of the animals she's rescued. Some of the goats. There she is. I'll stop sharing for a moment. Okay, the color is really good. You have to turn on your volume though. Can't hear you. Your volume is off.
Yep.
Here.
I got it.
Now the color is perfect. The sound is good.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Everything looks good now.
Okay, good.
I'm so happy to have you up here.
I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that it all worked out for us.
I know, I was like, I know this is late notice, but can you please come on? Because we'd planned it, but not this quick.
That's fine. And I'm sorry if I'm moving in and out. I've got a cat kneading in my lap, so, so I'm trying to work around her.
That's okay. I'm so happy to get to see you.
Oh, same here.
Usually we chat or text here and there, but when we get to talk, it feels like no time has passed.
That's true. And you gave me quite the intro, so I feel very honored.
But everything I said is true. To me, it's true
Yeah. I keep
because
it down low.
from the first time I ever met you or felt you, and I say felt you because that's how I tend to. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. I tend to feel people from a distance, even. You always felt like a light worker to me. That's how your energy has always been to me.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's kind of how I feel day to day, which is kind of neat. It's neat, accepting that and realizing you're bringing light to people. It's cool.
Well, the truth of the matter is, a light worker is really ultimately like an earthbound angel.
Mm.
I mean, that's really the truth of who you are.
Yep. See, Buttercup is joining the crowd. We've got, I don't know if you can see everybody.
Oh my goodness!
Everybody's on the couch with me.
Where's the new foster pup?
I am not sure. I think she's at the foot of the couch. I can't really see her. And I'm not sure where Rocky is. So yeah, she is growing by leaps and bounds. So
I'm telling you, especially my husband loves German Shepherds. That's what she is, right?
yeah, I think she's an Anatolian Shepherd. I did order a DNA test, so that'll be a couple more weeks before I get it. But she's definitely a Shepherd. It's just a matter of what she's mixed with. So it might be German Shepherd and Anatolian. So we'll see. She's a beautiful dog, but I'm definitely a German Shepherd person.
That would be my puppy. 150% because my husband loves them, and we love animals here too. She would be mine, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
having a hard time with deciding on this. It's really difficult for me whether I'm going to keep her or let her go. And I know in my heart I really want to keep her, but I'm still fighting with what's better for her. So,
yeah, but I mean, when I see your post,
oh my God, she fit right in with my pack. So everybody, I have four big dogs. Brought in this 12-week-old puppy, foster, and I wasn't planning on a puppy, but there were all these signs that I should put in to foster this puppy, and I totally believe in signs. And I brought her in, and normally a puppy like that would be overwhelmed by four big dogs. She came in all piss and vinegar. Hey, how you guys doing? And just ran along with the pack, and it's like she was born here. It's so amazing. And the person that was on holding her in Missouri on her way up from Arkansas, her name was Cecilia, or her name is Cecilia, which was my dog that had passed earlier or within the past year. So that was my sign. And she and I have become very good friends. And she's kind of like backing me up and understanding my dilemma because she's a year younger than I am, and helping me through my decision on whether to keep her or to adopt her out. So
I'd I'd have the hardest time. Oh my lord!
it's, you know what, I get to the point where I see how great she is with the pack, but I also think, okay, she's going to live 10 to 12 years. That's going to put me at 74 to 76 years old, with four dogs. So, I don't, that's the hard part. But another friend said, yeah, Susan, your 74 is really like a 54. And I'm like, that's a good point too.
I mean, and it's true. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way my mom's going to be 80. Does she look 80? Does she act 80? Is she very highly functional? Yeah.
Yeah.
You put her up against a normal 80-year-old, there's a 20-year looking discrepancy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's just one of those things. If I had if I had the ability in the land, I would have animals everywhere. I mean, as it is, there's 3 dogs and a cat here.
Yep. I get
So,
it. Once I fenced in the yard, all of a sudden I started getting more dogs. So it's like,
hey, Deal Hole. That name gets me every time I see it, by the way. Deal Hole. I think of Beavis and Butthead back in the day, if anybody remembers that
oh yeah.
cartoon. But I've always been drawn to you for that. And just for reference, for people that might want to know, she and I were reminiscing today because I had to think about how did we meet in the first place? Well, um, for any of those that went way back to one of my videos that I spoke briefly about, because I don't talk about it all the time, when I was being, it was probably right before I got tested for abilities, and when I first went to university and I was going to become a therapist and stuff, and I was being mentored, and they found out I had abilities because I was trying to, didn't want anybody to know. One of my professors and therapists recommended that I try to find a safe place to test out some of my abilities where I didn't have to worry about people finding out. Well, that safe place became eBay. And I decided to do written readings.
Mm-hmm.
And I did them for $5. And that's how Susan and I met.
Yeah. But the crazy part, do you remember when I did a search in eBay for whatever reason, I think I did for readings, you were the only one that came up, the only one. So
Which is weird.
we were meant to meet each other because when I did a search after that, then I got multitudes.
Which is really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Hey, Inda, because at the time, which I didn't know, there were like a bazillion
yeah, there were a lot.
of eBay psychics. And I don't even like the word psychic, to be honest with you, because I think there are a lot of phony balonies and charlatans. There are. And there are real people that have abilities. So I was so angsty about doing it in the first place. And I really put my whole self into it, and want to make sure I'm very connected and do the right thing. So I think I wrote a book when I sent you your reading.
I still have the copies, and I told you I just read through one of them not too long ago or this past week because they're all in a book together of your readings. But they really helped me a lot and opened up other avenues for me to look at, especially my connection with the moon, which is very big. So you helped me with that.
Thank you. And she was telling me that she read one about her son's present wife.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it was before they even met, which is they've been together about 12 years. So you're because you said I'm really drawn to Zach, and you just gave me like a rundown of like what his possible career was, what his wife would be, or future wife or relationship, and it almost nailed his wife now to the T. I mean, like perfectly. And then that just blew me away. And he did go. He's a physician, or not a physician. He's a doctor of pharmacy, but he's very career oriented. I mean, you had nailed him pretty much. I'd say 95% correct in that reading.
So it just goes to show you how connections are. Girl, at that time, I was so paranoid about opening up that part of myself in that way. I was saging the room. I was lighting candles. I was praying because I was just wanting to protect everything,
Right.
right? And you were a big part of that connection for me. And here, this many years later, we are so still connected.
Yeah, because it's
And
been 15 years, I think.
yeah, and it means the world to me. And important relationships like this and these kind of connections mean the world to me.
Same here. I mean, we've reached out to each other for different various reasons. And that's important. Like you said, we've never met, but we have that connection where we feel we can talk to each other as we've been friends forever, which is neat.
Yeah, and it's been over important things,
Yeah.
like really important things. I mean, you've been through it with me over the loss of Noah,
Yeah.
over things with Eden growing up.
Now with
I
Stephen and, yeah, there's been stuff all along.
Yeah, your kids, my kid, everything.
Yeah.
So, she's a warrior to me. When I first met you, you were going through it.
Yeah. There's a lot of crap going on.
Yeah, you're a health warrior, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, this lady right here has been in rescue for how many years?
Gosh, well, I've been doing rescue for a long time, pretty much rescue all my life, but I've been doing more volunteer work, steady volunteer work for 15 years now. Volunteering at sanctuaries. One sanctuary was for just short of 13 years, and my current one, almost 2 years. So,
And tell them about the sanctuary you were originally with and the kind of animals that you worked with.
that was called Valley of the Kings. So it was an exotic sanctuary. It had exotic animals and farm animals, various animals, but there's the lions and tigers and bears, which is always, oh my. But honestly, I got to work with these lions, these tigers up close. The one picture that Dana posted, that was Sheba the lion. She was by far my favorite. I had such a connection with her. I could talk to her. I could ask her to roll on her back, to see her belly, to give me kisses. Um, you know, that was the connection I had. Grizzly bears, black bears, beautiful tigers, cows, donkeys, lambs, sheep, goats, you name it, they were there. I have a picture of an emu that I was with, which I always joked that Gus was my boyfriend. He would come up to me and just put his head on my chest and just close his eyes, and to have that connection with a feathered animal just blew my mind. And I have to share this. My mentor for animal communication, she had done a reading for me, and she said, I see fur and feathers. And this was before I started out there. I see fur and feathers. I go, I get the fur. The feathers I don't get. I don't get that at all. And sure enough, I fell in love with this emu. I worked with chickens and ducks and geese and you name it. And they became a very big part of my life also. So um, I was there to the point at the end, I was putting in close to 30 volunteer hours a week. And it got to the point where there was a huge falling out with the ethics of the owner, and that was my sign for me to move on. It was time for me to move on. It wasn't good for my soul to be there anymore, as much as it hurt me to leave those animals that I had put my heart and soul into and care so much about. And I still care very much about them, but it was time for me to move on. And I went right to another sanctuary who, the owner of that sanctuary, which is called Tiny Hooves, I actually taught her and trained her at Valley of the Kings. And she left Valley of the Kings and started her own farm sanctuary. And she is a vegan, has been, I think, almost all her life. It's a woman-run sanctuary, and she's very tight on the vegan part, which understandable. She's like, I don't eat my friends, and I honor her for that. Um, and it's like night and day between the two sanctuaries. But what I have learned and what I garnered and the energy I shared with those animals, the lions, the tigers, the horses, that's a dream come true, a little girl's dream come true, to work with those animals and to feel them and hear them and just know that love was there. It was just an amazing experience.
And I was trying to find a picture of some of the. I was scrolling through Facebook trying to find some of them.
Oh,
Well,
so
yeah, there are so many, but some of the animals, it just seems like when you would go there, they would connect with you more so than some of the other people.
yeah, I captured their essence, because when I would take a picture of them, it was them. It was their, like I said, their essence. You could see who they were through my photos, which I love, um, because you could see how they felt about me in those pictures also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the horses. I mean, just the picture I had on the thumbnail of the lion coming up to you on the fence.
Yep.
You could see that he just trusted you.
Yeah. Yep. It was, I could walk through the sanctuary and they would come right up wanting me to spend time. And the bears also. The bears would love when I would come and sit down next to the fence and just talk to them, or walk along the fence line for exercise and talk to them and just spend time with them. Other than, they're like, okay, we're going to feed you and clean you, and then that's all the attention they got. They knew they were going to get from me that attention and affection that they wanted. And that was the hard part about being there, was being so spread thin. But I always tried my best to spend time. I would walk through, say hi to everybody, and then say goodnight to everybody when I left, and, try to spend that extra time with them when I could.
Who were some of your favorite or the most connected animals to you in the
Uh,
past?
well, RC, the blind horse, which was the one picture I sent you, she had her eyes removed due to a severe infection. Um, she was my first bond. Um, Absolutely adored her, and I would brush her down, and she would put her head on my shoulder, and she was very skittish, but she was also very good with me. The camel we had out there. I was able to groom him and clean him, where he would nip at everybody else, but he would allow me in there because I talked to him and calm him down. Um, and when it was time for him to go, he ended up having a twisted stomach. They called me to come down to spend time with him to help the vet. And when I got there, I did some energy work with him. I let him know what was going to happen, that his pain was going to be relieved and he was going to be able to move on and go back home. And he just totally settled down. It was amazing to see that. But he was another one that I absolutely adored. I went above and beyond to make him comfortable, because he had deformed feet from the way he was just not treated well as a baby, and he had huge holes in his feet that eventually scarred over. But he had trouble like standing. I did whatever I could to make him comfortable. But I was the only one that he would allow to go in and clean. I fell in love with a boar named Homer. I just feeding him. He was like a little sultan. He'd lay on his side while I'd feed him peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and then I'd oil his skin. Fell in love with him. Um, like I said, Gus the emu, Sheba the lion. There's so many. I love so many, but those are the ones I really particularly bonded with. But I always made sure I spent as much time as I could with all of them.
Um, what was I going to ask you? I just had a brain glitch. Sorry.
Everybody that's listening, we're winging this. So just I'm doing the best I can. Just speaking from my heart.
No. That's the way that I want it, and I
Yeah.
prefer it. Um. Oh, what I was going to tell them the benefits of. Oh, thank you, honey. My husband just sent me a super sticker.
Aw.
He puts his picture up as Kermit the Frog. Hey, James Money. Um, the benefits of energy work. I mean, because my animals, people respond to it, and my animals respond to it. I
Yeah.
have done some live energy work on here, and even from a distance, it works. But animals,
Yeah. Animals, what I loved, and when I first started out there was a group of 3 male lions, and I at back then when I had more time, I wrote blogs and stories about my experiences there. But this was one of those days where I'm in Wisconsin, so it was probably negative degrees, lots of snow, and I was exhausted by 5 o'clock after being there for close to 7 to 8 hours. And one of those big lions came over, and normally they're aloof, but he came up to the fence, and I could just feel him reach out to me, helping me. He was giving me energy to keep going. And that was amazing. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. This goes both ways. So but with those animals, if I could feel they wanted me to work with them and spend time with them, um, and do that energy exchange, but it went both ways for a lot of those animals that I work with. It goes that way with my own animals here. And you could see again, there, can you see the cat in between the two dog butts?
yes,
That's
I love
that.
how they get along.
Yes, but that's the energy I have in my home. That's why. It's that loving, calm, and trusting energy, and it goes both ways. I could walk up, even with the new animals that I work with now, which honestly, some of those animals I've known when they were at Valley of the Kings, but I will lean over, bend over at my waist, and I will put my arms out like wide to gather them in. And I will get 5 or 6 goats that come up to me and all come in for a hug, and we do that for probably 3 4 minutes, just me talking to them, getting love, exchanging the energy, and then it's time to do some more work. It's the coolest thing in the world.
I love that, and I try to explain to people, you can a baby will respond to it.
Yeah.
Animals will respond to it. Your plants respond to it. My mom will call, and I'll be in the living room, and my dogs are quiet, and she'll say, "What's going on? Are the dogs outside? It's awful quiet in there." And he'll say, "It's quiet because my husband and my daughter are gone, and they're with me,
Yeah.
and they feed off my energy, right? So it's calm and quiet." The minute the others get home, they're all active and crazy. But I have a cat that's partially evil. So it stays with my daughter. I have to separate it from the dogs, and she rescued it from the pound. I don't know what the deal is with the cat. It can be sweet and loving, but it attacks the dogs literally. If it sees the dogs, it will jump on the dog's back and ride them like horses, put its nails out,
Oof. Wow.
and then bite them on the neck. I kid you not.
Wow. Yeah, but you see videos of that, but none of my cats are like that, and I have a lot of cats too.
So the cat, my daughter's cat, doesn't get to be around the dogs.
Yeah.
And the dogs are terrified of the cat, even my bigger dog.
Can't blame them.
So I'm just like, this isn't going to happen. It just has a mean streak. Have you ever seen a cat like that?
I have seen cats like that. I don't know where that comes from. A lot of times the cats will have mental issues or they have disabilities just like humans do. And, that could be just part of its genetic makeup. I have a couple cats in my house that are feral cats. I will never be able to pet them, but they're here.
It came from the pound,
Yeah.
and like I said, it can be very sweet, and and it can be sweet with me. But you let me walk out of my daughter's room, and it'll run up and bite my ankle.
Yeah, now that I think about it, there was one, I think more so because my kids would tease it, but when they were younger, the cat would just kind of like wait behind the door for somebody to go through and then pounce at them. But yeah, there's just some cats that are like that.
And if I open her door to talk to her, I'll tell that cat, I'll say, I have an energy field right here, and I will put energy in front of the door, and I'll say, you cannot pass this energy, and it won't pass with the
Oh,
place I put energy.
that's cool.
And it's that way every time. If I say there's energy here and I just put that energy there, it won't pass. It gets mad at me. You can tell it's mad at me. So, I mean, it is a moody cat. So, I don't know. I think it has I think it needs medication. I think it needs I think it needs to go see a therapist or
Well, I have kitty CBD oil, so
oh, I didn't think about that.
yep, you can give it CBD oil and see how that works.
Now it loves catnip a lot. Too much.
Yeah, that gets them worked up.
What does that do exactly? Hey, KK Bootsy.
It gets them high. I mean, it gets them all worked up.
Oh, does it literally get them high?
Yeah,
Is it like marijuana to them?
pretty much. Well, it gets them more worked up. Where marijuana, I think, is more of like a depressant kind of thing, makes people
Oh,
melt.
just a chill, mellow.
Yeah, and where cats will get all excited and they'll they'll inhale it. They will actually inhale it, lick it. They'll start kicking. They fight each other over it, and then they crash.
Oh, he gets really goofy. Yeah. So that's very interesting. Now, you do I mean, you've got cats and dogs,
Yeah.
and yours tend to get along very well.
Yes.
Um, she gave me advice because I've got mainly rescues, and one of my rescues, the one I told you we rescued off the road, it happened to get here on Noah's birthday. It's got a lot of quirkiness, and we're about to get that dog fixed because it's the only one that I've ever had issues with. And she gave me advice, but I'm usually able to train dogs, train them to sit, potty train them, teach them tricks, everything like quickly. And that's the only dog I've ever had issues with. When you have rescues come into your house, do you try to train them to do different things or what? Just a basic.
I do basic training with them. Actually, JJ needs a little more training on come here because he thinks it's a game.
He's a
When
new one or no?
what?
Is
No,
he the new baby?
no, the baby's only, gosh, she's what, 14 weeks old now. She has learned to sit. So when I'm doing breakfast in the morning, because I make a special breakfast every morning, they all line up. And so she's learned what's neat about having a pack is and having a puppy come in or a new dog come in because Sana, I'll have her for a year on Sunday, but they learn from each other. So the puppy learns the cues. She knows outside. She knows in the garage. She knows potty. She knows when it's breakfast. Like I'll say breakfast, and I mean she knows the cues already. When I say bedtime, everybody goes to my bedroom. So she is learning those cues off of my pack, off of everybody else. And she's learning to be a dog and wrestle around. And
I've watched. Yeah.
yeah, she holds her own. She's something else. But I just have basic cues for the dogs, like the sit down, here, stay, basic stuff, paw, shake kind of thing. Um, but I like my dogs to be dogs and enjoy, even though they are German Shepherds. I go out and I run around and chase them in the yard and I play with them. They get so excited when I go out in the yard because they know it's playtime. But they get the exercise they need with me because you need to spend time with your dogs and your animals. Um, and to interact with them. They're not just there to lay on the couch, or just to hold space in your house.
Yeah.
They're a part of your family. My kids are grown, so these are my kids now, and there's a lot of interaction. I talk to them all day long.
Yeah.
So they know words. They know, they understand what I'm saying to them. I had one German Shepherd when the kids were growing up that we actually had to start spelling because she knew all the commands so well, and
Yeah.
she on the spelling. So it's just neat, but I just treat them like they're my kids. I talk to them, interact. You have to do that. And I think that's why I have such a good interaction with, they all get along great. They have their tiffs just like our children would have tiffs. That's no different, but it's kind of like I can feel who's going to work here and who's not.
Right.
So I've been very lucky in that aspect. I do have some odds in the house, like the big fat cat that was laying in between the dogs. He can be a bully towards a couple of the other cats, so he's a turd, but the puppy now is giving him a little bit of karma. So he's getting his payback in ways.
So have you given the puppy a name?
Puppy, her name is Stella. So she came in with the name Stella, but I love the name Stella. So if I keep her, which I'm pretty much leaning towards, she'll keep that name.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it suits her.
What do you suggest when people are seeking a pet? Now, I do have a bulldog, but every other pet I have is rescue. My bulldog right now, the lifespan for a bulldog. Now, he was unusual, and you can call him a rescue because he wasn't a typical rescue. He wasn't a typical bulldog that people would want to purchase because he didn't meet the standards, so to speak.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wanted him because he wasn't how do you put it? The people that were raising him, he wasn't the typical, oh, we're going to get this bulldog because he meets all the criteria.
Right. He's not a show dog. He wouldn't make the AKC standards. Yep.
His nose wasn't squished in, his this and that and the other. So I wanted him. But anyway, their typical lifespan is between 8 and 10, and he's 10 and a half.
Ah.
So my heart.
Yes, that's very cool.
So I know that,
love. I mean, love goes a long way, to extend their lives. It really does.
I mean, he still eats, he still drinks, he's healthy in his stools, all of that stuff. He hasn't had any illnesses and everything, but I know he's old.
Yeah.
So we're just loving him and taking care of him as it stands.
Yeah.
And my other two are young, and they're the rescues. But like my Cleopatra Rose, she is they say she's Retriever Collie and Great Pyrenees. We don't know. She's Heinz 57.
Oh, wow.
But that dog, she saw us turn a doorknob, and next thing we know, she took her paws and she was doing it.
Oh, yeah. I know how to open the screen doors.
So she watches like everything. I think people underestimate what they comprehend.
I totally agree with that. They don't give the dogs enough credit. I mean, they're sentient beings, and they understand. They know a lot more than we would ever give them credit for.
I mean, she stares a hole through me and senses when I'm upset. She'll come and put her head up on my shoulder. If something, because I have MS, if something seems off with me, she knows it before I know it.
Yeah.
So she would be a perfect candidate for I lost the word again.
Therapy animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, or like a dog to take with me when I'm not having a good day.
Yeah.
So she knows too much. She understands too many words.
Well, she doesn't understand too many. She does understand. You can't say too many. That just you have to
Yeah,
give her a lot of credit. Yep.
yeah, I can't say too many. I need to spell.
Yeah.
I'm worried that she'll understand the spelling though.
It won't take her long if she's that smart.
But she just seems very empathic.
Yeah. And most animals are, especially our own animals. They are empathic. They'll pick up on us easily.
But if I sneeze, she runs across the room.
Just startled her.
And then she comes back like, "Are you okay?" But tell us, have you gone the reptile route though?
Well, with the tortoise. So how in the world can I forget Kibbit when you asked me for my lists of who I bond with? So there was a giant tortoise there, Kibbit, and she was probably when I left about 70 pounds. So I was the only volunteer worker there that could pick her up and move her. So I fell in love with her. I would always make sure I brought kale for her and all kinds of greens, made her special salads. I built her, special enhancement things for enrichment. Um, Talk to her, pet her. Kids would come in for tours, and I'd like them come in to see her and touch her because she loved children, and I knew she loved children.
How did you know she loved children?
I I could sense it. You know how it is. It's hard to describe, but
Yeah.
I can feel. I'm also I'm a medical intuitive also.
Yes.
Feel what they feel, and I can sense what they want.
Right.
So I knew that. I knew that she loved children, and they'd go in there and she'd get so excited, and then she'd go to see each one of them, and that brought such joy to the kids, and she loved it. Um, so she was very special to me also, but she was the main reptile I worked with. There was no others really that I ever did. I mean, I kind of like friends that had snakes, but I'm like, yeah, that's really not my thing. But Kibbit the tortoise boy, I loved her, spoiled her.
And how did when you would interact with Kibbit? And I know what you mean. Yeah, I do the medical intuitive thing too. And I know what you mean about feeling the animals. But with Kibbit, could you feel like an emotional exchange with her?
Oh yeah, I would touch her, and I could feel. I would like is. I would rub under her neck and rub on her nose, and the joy that I got from her, because she's just like nobody else does that for her, and she knew when she saw me, she's like, it's Susan. And a lot of those animals were like that. They're like, oh, it's, and they get so excited. And to see that in a giant tortoise I loved it. She always got so excited when would go to see her, or she knew I was the one that was going to bring her outside. I'd put her in a a dump cart or a wheelbarrow when she was not so big, and I'd bring her out, and she would get so excited and start grunting, that she knew
Aw.
out. It, and I have videos of that, taking her out for her first day in the spring, that kind of thing, and just I have so many pictures of her. So yeah, she was important.
That just warms my heart. Um, so when do you remember? See, you started volunteering how long ago again?
I started. I'm trying to think when my son. It was his 2008, maybe 2008. I think it was his senior year.
Okay. Did the kids ever go with you when you?
They have been out there. They love it. They didn't come out that often because they were grown. My daughter was in college already, so I
Yeah.
do pictures of her with some of the tigers. I have pictures of my daughter-in-law with some of the animals, and my son. My son's kind of stoic, and he's like he really enjoyed it, but he's not one of those to gush about it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I found out my daughter would tell all her friends about, that I worked with the animals. That surprised me because she normally, daughter's a daughter. So, but it was nice to know that she was proud of the work that I did out there.
Have you ever written about any of it?
Yeah, I did have blogs and stuff back, when they had certain pages you could use and write stories. So some of those got lost. Some of the stories I moved over to my Facebook page, which is called Animal Bond. So some of those stories are there. You probably have to dig through to try to find them just because of the way Facebook was set up back then. It's
Yeah.
not now where it's easier to find. Um, but those stories are in there. And then just life got in the way. So I didn't write as much anymore. And I just take a lot of pictures, and that's part of capturing my time with them, and unfortunately not sharing the connection I had with them.
You've got a few children's books in you. You do actually. Not that you have that much time because you stay so busy.
Yeah,
Let me
I do
see.
my best to help. um i I have a friend that's down in Illinois, and she collects food from like PetSmart and Pets Plus and Bentley's. I don't know if you have any of those down there.
Yeah.
She'll collect food from there. I'll meet up with her, and I'll bring it up here, and I'll distribute it to like the local like food pantry. It's called Community Place. So they package it up in smaller like bags, and then distribute it to the families that need help feeding their animals. And then I help another rescue, and for the same thing, she has a pantry that she has at her home where she'll get like to the community center and distribute. So she actually just asked me if I had any, but we're running low this month for some reason. But normally I have a whole carload of food, and then it goes to people that can use it. And there's certain people that I will reach out to and say, okay, I've got this food. How are you set up? So there's some that I help individually, and then I help the community also, which, is wonderful. I love doing that. And they are thrilled to pieces, that I'm working with them. And then moving from my prior volunteer work to where I am now, I was able to, um, I have things set up with a Costco, some of the grocery stores, none local here, unfortunately, but where they give us their produce. So
Wow.
the produce from Costco alone saves the sanctuary tiny hooves like $1,300 a month. They used to have to buy that until I came in and said, hey, you know what? Let me reach out to them and see if they're willing to work with Tiny Hooves for this, because they didn't want to work with the other sanctuary once I left. So they have been thrilled to pieces, and we have weekly donations from 3 different places that will provide the produce, and it's amazing.
And that says a lot about you.
Yeah. Well, tonight I drove to the big city because I live out in the country pretty much. But I go to Pepperidge Farm warehouse, and I get a carload of bread. So I have a carload of hot dog buns and hamburger buns, and that's all going to go to the pigs and the cows and the sheep and the goats for snack food for wintertime, because they need a little more of the starches and carbohydrates for the winter. So, it's worth making those trips to help the animals and help the sanctuary save money, and that way they can put the monies that they raise towards the health and care of the animals, and not have to worry about, because food's gotten so expensive, and that's taking away from, other stuff that they can get, like buying their actual grains, that type of thing they need, or the hay or the straw. So it helps a lot.
Yeah, that's an understatement
Yeah.
about how, because I'm thinking about buying chickens.
But there's a lot of cost into chickens too. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know, but the eggs are so high.
we have multitudes of egg farms up here, and millions and millions of those chickens died just right outside town. So sad.
Yeah, they raise a lot of chickens here too, where we are, but it's just terrible how expensive things have gotten.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was lucky. I just had since I do live out in the country, I have a lot of farmer friends, and I'm like, hey, you know what? If you can fit me in your egg rotation, I would love that. And she's like, well, right now I'm not sure. And then a week later, she goes, sure. How much do you want? I go 3 dozen. She goes, it's yours. And I'm like, cool. Let's do this on a regular rotation. Oh, because I love eggs and farm fresh eggs as opposed to store bought. No question.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
haven't had farm fresh, but it's going to get to the point that we're going to be better off bartering.
yeah, yeah.
I'll make bread, I'll swap it for eggs. Hey, Sister Winnie, how are you? Yeah, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. And if you don't realize by now what an earthbound angel you are and what a wonderful human being you are, seriously, Susan. I mean, I don't know who hasn't told you lately, but you need to know.
I appreciate that. I just want to share that I've come to the point in my life, and probably the last 5 years or so, where I know everything is going to be okay. I am so secure in my faith and spirituality that I don't stress out on the little things. It's not worth it. And I can go out and I can feel you can feel that energy coming out of my chest and my heart, and just exuding when I'm out and about or when I'm here. And I love that. And you can see the difference when I meet people or come next to people. You can see that. You probably know that too. People can feel you.
Yeah,
And that's a cool thing.
it's a very cool thing. And it's part of why I tell people if you're holding in anger, if you're holding in stuff from the past, if you're holding in frustration or, just stuff in your shadow, for lack of better, right? And you're not letting it out, if you're not talking about it, if you're not finding an outlet for all of these things, it causes disease. It causes all of these things that lowers your energy, adds to your depression, adds to your anxiety, etc. And it's important for us to find a way to get it out.
Yeah.
Whether it's write it down, speak to a therapist, exercise, ground yourself, hug a tree, pray, meditate, something.
Yeah.
And then if you find a way to do like you do, connect with the animals, do something in your environment, connect with people, pay it forward, look at people and let them know that I see you.
Yeah.
It's about, if you can resonate higher and connect with your spiritual self, it's the very thing that you're saying. You can finally get to the point where you feel it come out of you.
Yeah.
Like you said, and people can feel you, animals can feel you. It's that exchange.
Yeah.
where you finally feel at peace. And it's like someone said the other day, um, and I feel the same way. If there are people, I don't have hate for anybody. There may be people that I don't want in my circle,
Yeah.
but I care about what happens to them, or, I send unconditional positive regard to them, but I don't want them in my circle. There's a difference.
Yeah, I agree. I have cut out people that I was friends with for years because you don't want that negative energy in your circle. You don't. It doesn't serve a purpose for your life. And you can just wish them well, and that's, move on.
Yeah, I mean, you just cut out the toxicity. You
Yeah.
don't wish anyone any harm,
Yeah.
right? You're not hateful, angry, any of that stuff. You just,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't want to share space that with somebody that is toxic. It's not good for you.
And as, like as I get older, I learn.
Yeah.
You protect your energy,
Oh,
right?
big time.
But hate is not my dance because that only hurts me.
Yeah, it really doesn't serve any purpose. You can dislike something and then you just drop it and let it go and move on.
I don't like Lisa Rinna, and I don't watch that show anymore because that's so much yucky stuff. I don't watch any of the housewife stuff anymore. I don't watch any of that stuff that has negativity anymore. If a show's going to make me feel a certain way, I don't watch that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I watch what I put in my ears and in my eyes, and you see what I'm saying.
And that's very important because there's certain shows you're like, okay, let me watch this. And then you're like, why am I watching this? This is not making me feel good. It's giving me anxiety, and then I will turn it off.
Yeah. I just figured if it affects my energy,
Yeah.
it affects my calm, if it affects my peace, it's not good for me. If, and it's going to affect my animals and my husband and my daughter and my everything.
Yeah. You're so.
Do what?
That Sophie's trying to nose in here.
The kitty.
One of the kitties, I have Buttercup's in my lap. So Buttercup's the one that she's like 21 years old, Siamese. I adopted about a little over 3 years ago. So
What is the general life expectancy of a cat?
from my experience, it could be from anywhere from 10 to 15 years. Buttercup is going on 21, but apparently Siamese have a longer lifespan. She's her story. She was her owners passed away. She and her sister. Her family didn't want them, so they put them in a Chicago anti-cruelty shelter. And at that time, they were 15 years old, I think, 15 or 16. Chicago anti-cruelty deemed them unadoptable and sent them up to Valley of the Kings to put in the senior room, which was already overcrowded. So when I met Buttercup and her sister was Autumn, Autumn was a basket case. And then Buttercup was like, hey, you, me, pay attention to me. And I'm like, gosh, she's beautiful. A week later, when I went back the following week, we had to put her sister down because she had just pretty much dying from a broken heart. And she had just wasted away within a week. And Buttercup started hiding. And I just said, absolutely not. This cat is coming home with me. I've had her for a little over 3 years, and she is my Velcro cat. She is on my lap. She's on my desk when I'm working. She's on my arms when I'm trying to type and work. I mean, she's on me all the time. The only time she's not with me is when I go to bed because I have too many dogs and other cats in my bed, and she won't share me that way. So that's why I usually fall asleep on the couch more than I should because I don't want to move because of Buttercup, and she's right there.
She's pretty.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart, but she's a sassy girl, and everybody else here respects her.
And then lately, I've been real addicted to. I would love to have a cockatoo, but you know,
That's a lifetime. That's a lifetime commitment.
that's a mini lifetime commitment.
Yes,
That's a okay. I need to put this bird
put
in
her
my will
still.
because I think they live like two lifetimes or more.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, but I don't know what time it is. I don't want to keep you forever. If there's any words of wisdom that you would like to give anybody, like how can they help in their communities for one thing?
You know, I know around here there's a young lady here who is amazing. And I don't know, everybody's got different neighborhoods, but you know, even on Facebook, sharing rescues and shelters, when they post their animals, if you could share those posts or look to see what rescues are in your area, follow them on Instagram, follow them on Facebook or whatever social media. And when they share their animals that are up for adoption, reshare, because that's how those animals find a home. You have to spread that news because otherwise it all stays in a general population. It's the same people. And if you take that up and start sharing, it's like the tree branches moving out and giving that animal that extra chance of being seen and hopefully finding a home. Um, Not necessarily volunteer. If you have the time to volunteer, even if it's just for a couple hours a week, it doesn't have to be with animals, but it could be with anything. You could help with the local food pantry. You can help at the library. But animal rescue and animal shelters desperately need help. They desperately need help. Um, and they're happy for 2 to 3 hours a week. More would be great. Or you can ask, what can I do for you? Can you help with food distribution? Can you reach out to grocery stores and say, hey, are you willing to do this to help out, a shelter? Some stores have gotten crazy about, we don't want to help feed animals. They would rather throw it in the trash, which is
I've seen it in the trash. Yeah.
Yep, Whole Foods did that. They closed off everything that they were donating and just tossed it, which is nuts. But um, just see what extra you can do for service to mankind and to animals. There's a lot out there that need help. And that's a biggie. And I do what I can. I used to do more, but I'm like, I'm getting up there. I'm now a grandma. Yahoo! So I want to take that extra time and have the free time, to go visit when I can.
Yeah. And she's beautiful.
Thank you. I think so too.
She's very beautiful, actually. I know you want to take the extra time to go see her, and there will be more.
Yes, I know. I know they're going to have a little boy next. I already know that. So, but they're not going to start working on that until I think beginning of next year. So, but I'm going to see her at the end of the month, so I'm excited about that. And then she'll be a year in April, so that's exciting too. Oh, yeah.
April what?
April 22nd, Earth Day.
Okay. Mine's the 3rd, so I just didn't know.
Yep. No, she was. She was born on the 22nd, so that made all sense. She was 2 weeks early, and she was a full size baby 2 weeks early. She was, I think, 8 pounds 3 ounces at 2 weeks early.
Yeah, Eden was 2.5 weeks early, and she was 8.5 pounds.
Yeah.
So if she'd been full
Yeah. Well,
term,
we knew that was going to happen. They had been watching all along because my son was so big, and he was 10 pounds 13 ounces and 23 inches long, and he's 6'6" now. So she's 5'3". So they monitored her all the way through to make sure.
and Deb said, bye, and Deb, she said she has, oh yeah, it's like Wincy Child, they need coverage. Said she has her 14-year-old Chihuahua turns 14 next month.
Oh, that's awesome. Chihuahuas have a good lifetime. They actually live quite long, which is nice.
Yeah. Makia Nutrition, which please check out her channel if you get a chance. She's in Kenya. I had dogs while growing up and a cat, although I developed an allergy. Living in apartments denies me the chance to keep animals. That is understandable.
Yeah,
Some
that's
apartments get strict.
yeah.
I want to share really quick. I'm not going to keep you much longer. If it will let me, you your picture of the horse.
Oh, okay.
It says select preview. Will it let me share it? I don't know.
I don't know. I can't see anything.
Oh, it was canceled. It was canceled. I don't think it's going to let me share it.
Oh, bummer.
Select a present. Facebook. Oh, there it is. Okay. Share. There it goes. Can we see it?
Oh, there. Yeah. That's
That is.
our yeah.
That's the beautiful horse. What's his name?
RC. So she was the horse that had her eyes removed due to infection.
Oh,
She was kept in horrible condition and was a animal. Well, she was a seizure due to neglect. Um, so then her eyes had gotten so bad they actually had to remove her eyes. So she had dry sockets. But she was an amazing horse. I loved her so much.
and they are such intelligent animals for
Oh my
sure.
gosh, yes.
And I love it when they use horses to do therapy with people.
Yes. Yes. I have a friend that has she calls hers infrangible horse rescue, and she does an amazing job rescuing horses. They're not cheap to keep, but there's a lot of people that have a big heart for them and help the ones, because it's horrible all over the country with, especially with the cost going up in food. But when we had the hate crisis, people would just leave their horses in like natural forest or DNR land and just let them be. Then they would basically starve. And then they'd get put into a bigger sanctuary. Well, horses have a pecking order. I don't know if everybody's aware of that. So it is a pecking order, and if you're low man on the totem pole, they won't let you eat. They keep
Oh,
you away from the food. So if there's not enough feeders, um, they don't get to eat. So there's so much out there. It's sad, but people need to be more aware and more cognizant of what's going on. Um, but most I don't know. There's so many stories. But,
well, I love everything that you've had to say and on the information that you have given people and all the stories about the animals that you have. And I know that you have a million more, but you are just one of the best humans that I know.
I
And I
appreciate
say
that.
that from the heart.
Only I would be this crazy to have as many animals as I do in my house, but you'd never know it. That's what people are like. I can't believe you have that many animals in there, but they're all like spread out. I have 14 cats in my house. Um, 10 of those came from Valley of the Kings because I could not leave them there. I knew they would die of neglect. That's how bad it was there for overcrowding, or, I knew they just didn't belong there.
Yeah.
So 9 or 10 of them are over the age of 10 now. So I've had them because my house was always the hospice house for a lot of the older cats. I didn't want them dying on the farm, so I would bring them home and let them pass here in love and being cared for.
Yeah.
So that's why I have so many. The hard part is because they're all so close in age that when they all start, when it's their time, it's all going to be close together. But they're loved, they're well cared for, they have a routine. I have some that stay upstairs because they don't want to be around the dogs. And I have a bunch that could care less about the dogs. So as is evident that they're all on the couch with me.
Yeah. But they couldn't have a better home, and they couldn't have more love. So
yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you everyone for letting me share my time. It's like, it was just Dana and I having a regular conversation, and you were all just, hanging out, listening to us.
But I'm sure people have learned a lot. And I'm very grateful that you came on.
Well, I'm glad that it worked out for both of us.
Yeah, me too. Because I'd planned it later, and I was like, I'm having a day. And this other thing didn't work out. Could you just please?
Yep. And it worked out. No problem.
Yeah.
A few technical difficulties there in the beginning, but we got there.
But everybody, please, please, please give your love to Susan. I hope you learned a lot. Those that come on in the replay gang, leave your comments and questions below. I can always hit Susan up and ask her your questions. But as always, please, it's a no hate zone, but there's nothing to hate on here. And remember, your vibe attracts your tribe. I hope everyone's having a lovely week, and we'll have a lovely rest of your week. Thank you, and I love you, Susan.
All right. Love you.
And I will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Everybody, thank you for coming on, and I shall see you on Saturday. And have a good rest of your week. Like I said, I'm repeating myself. And we shall go. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can by placing a, not a super chat, but a super sticker. That's what it is. Hey, Virginia Wolf, at the end of this. Thank you for popping on at the end. Aw, love you all so much. And I will see you on Saturday night. Let's go, go, go. I appreciate you, all of you. What is popping up on my screen? So here we go, everybody. Here we go. Bye, Susan.
Bye.
We are going to go. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on Saturday night. Here we go. Let's dance it out.
When you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Bye, everybody.
Go, go,
take care of your animals.
go, go.
Help your community.
Hustle hard, hustle
Volunteer where you can.
I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave.
Thank you, Susan Reinholz, for coming on.
I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain.
Love and light to everybody.
I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need.
Saturday night, they do some angel readings, they do some giveaways. We'll have to see
But I
what's
just
going
got
on.
right by that energy. Even when you feel low,
Let me
you can
know.
still go.
Let me know.
Even when you feel slow,
Let me
you
know.
can still go.
Let me know.
Even when there's no
What do you want to
hope, you
hear?
can still go.
Let me
I
know.
never answer to no,
Let me
man, I
know.
still go.
Let me know.
Go, go, go,
Go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go,
go.
go, go, go.
Bye, everybody.
Go, go, go,
Being
go,
silly now.
go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like